The apartment was dimly lit, with the soft hum of the refrigerator filling the silence. I was sitting on the couch, my legs stretched out, and my girlfriend Emily was perched on the armrest scrolling through her phone. We had been together for 2 years, and while things weren't perfect, I thought we had a solid relationship. That night, things took a turn I never saw coming. I'm not here to paint myself as a victim or a saint. I'm here to tell my side of what happened, and hopefully, someone out there can make sense of it. It all started over something trivial, a disagreement about weekend plans. Emily wanted to spend the day with her friends, but I had already made plans for us to go hiking. I suggested we compromise, but she wasn't having it. Her frustration built up quickly. I've always admired her fiery spirit, but when it's directed at me, it's overwhelming. We were talking, not yelling, just talking, and I could feel the tension rising. I decided to get up and grab a glass of water to cool off, both literally and figuratively. Emily followed me into the kitchen, her voice sharp and demanding answers. She was upset that I didn't seem to care about her plans. As I stood by the sink filling my glass, Emily started pushing me. It wasn't playful, it was firm and insistent. "Can you stop?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She didn't. Instead, she pushed harder, her words coming out in quick, angry bursts. Then came the punches. Small, quick jabs to my arm. They didn't hurt, not really, but they startled me. "Emily, stop," I said, stepping back. She followed me, her nails digging into my skin. I winced and pulled away, but she kept going. "Why won't you answer me?" she yelled, her voice cracking. "You're being so rude." "I don't care," I shot back, my frustration boiling over. "You need to stop scratching me." She didn't. Another punch landed on my arm, and I reacted without thinking. I punched her arm back, not hard, but enough to make her stop. For a moment, everything went still. Emily's eyes filled with tears and she stepped back, holding her arm where I had hit her. "You're a horrible man," she said, her voice trembling. "You're stronger than me. How could you?" I was stunned. "I warned you," I said, my voice low. "I told you to stop, Emily. I didn't want to hurt you, but you wouldn't leave me alone." She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "You don't understand," she said. "I'm small. I can't actually hurt you. But you? You could really hurt me." I looked down at my arm, where her nails had left red marks and broken the skin. "Emily, look at what you did," I said, showing her the scratches. "You're not as harmless as you think." But she wouldn't hear it. She went to the bedroom, slammed the door, and left me standing there, questioning everything. The next day, Emily's best friend, Claire, called me. "She told me what happened," Claire said. Her tone was accusatory. "Did she tell you about the scratching and the punches?" I asked. Claire paused. "She's been through a lot," she said finally. "Her ex used to hit her. Maybe she overreacted, but you shouldn't have hit her back." That was news to me. Emily had never mentioned anything about an abusive ex. Suddenly, her reaction made a little more sense, but it didn't make it right. I called my brother that night. He's always been my go-to when I don't know what to do. I told him everything, and he sighed. "Look, man, you're not a bad guy," he said, "but you're not perfect either. Maybe you should talk to someone, a therapist or something. Figure out how to handle situations like this better." I've never been one to think I needed therapy, but maybe he was right. Maybe there were better ways to handle conflict than reacting in the heat of the moment. Emily and I sat down to talk a few days later. She had calmed down, but her eyes were still red from crying. "I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm scared of you," she said. "And I don't want to be in a relationship where I feel attacked," I replied. We both had valid points, but neither of us knew how to move forward. "I think we need space," she said finally. "Just for a little while." I agreed, even though it hurt. We needed to figure out if this relationship was salvageable. In the weeks that followed, I started going to therapy. I needed to understand my own reactions and learn how to handle conflict better. Emily and I stayed in touch, but things were different. Eventually, we met up to talk. "I've been going to therapy too," she said. "I realized I have some unresolved issues from my past that I need to deal with." We decided to take things slow, to rebuild trust and communication. It wasn't easy, but it felt like the right thing to do. Looking back, I can see how we both contributed to what happened. I'm not proud of my actions, but I'm also not going to let one moment define me. Relationships are complicated, and sometimes they bring out the worst in us. But they can also be a catalyst for growth, if we're willing to learn from our mistakes.